Hey guys, Zack here, and welcome back to another action figure review, and today we'll be taking a look at the SH Figuarts Ultraseven. Now, this character comes from the 1967 series, well, Ultraseven. What I'm about to say, take with a grain of salt, because so far I have only seen the original Ultraman, Ultraman Tiga, Ultra Q, Ultraseven, and right now I'm in the process of watching Ultraman Dyna, but between all those shows, I'm going to be honest and say I think Ultraseven is probably my least favorite Ultra show. Not by much, though. Like, I still really like Ultraseven, don't get me wrong. In fact, like, Ultraseven is a very, like, influential show as far as, like, tokusatsu goes, you know? And even, like, you know, having an impact on things like Pokemon and Dragon Ball. So, yeah, to say Ultraseven isn't influential, like, that's a lie, because Ultraseven is very influential. So, I recognize that, but I don't know, like, for me, I don't know, it didn't wow me compared to, like, other Ultra shows that I've seen, you know? Like, there are things that I think, like, excuse me, I think there are things that, you know, it did better than, like, the original Ultraman, but still, I don't know, like, Ultraseven, like, again, I like the show, don't get me wrong, but it just didn't wow me compared to the other Ultra shows that I've seen, so, yeah, you know, like, again, like, I can't stress this enough, like, Ultraseven, I have nothing but respect for the series, you know, and I understand, like, it is a very, like, influential show, and I still like it, but again, just not my cup of tea, I guess, you know. Sorry to disappoint any of you Ultraseven fans who, you know, love Ultraseven, but I don't know. For me, Ultraseven, like, I can't stress this enough. I like it, but just not as much as the other Ultra shows, but I digress. I digress. Anyway, I've been rambling on for a little too long now. Let's just get right into this. Like usual, to start this review, we'll take a look at the paint. And the painting on this figure, for the most part, I think looks very nice. So right off the bat, like, pretty much, like, you know, most of the parts on this figure are casted in this, like, reddish coloration, which, you know, I think looks nice, but I wish it was more of, like, a vibrant red, similarly to the Ultra Hero series, Ultraseven here. This red here is more of, like, a vibrant color, and this one just looks a little dull in my opinion. But that's just me. It doesn't look terrible, but I wish the red here was a little more vibrant, but I digress. Anyway, the metallic bits here on his leg and on his torso here are painted this nice grayish coloration. And his shoulders here and, like, his little chest plate here is painted a nice metallic silver with bits of white. And these little, you know, spots right here. The head is also a metallic silver, which, again, looks very nice. The eyes are, I think they're made of, like, a transparent, like, yellowish plastic, which I think looks really nice. It looks better than them being painted, so yeah, I do appreciate that. And even the little color timer here on his head is a transparent, oop, we'll talk about that in a minute, a nice transparent, like, piece of green, which looks good. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the painting on this figure. Overall, I do like the paint. I wish the red here was a little more vibrant, but honestly, like, the way that it is now, it's not the end of the world, so I do still like it, so yeah. The painting on this figure is good. I'd say it gets a pass. Now, we'll take a look at the articulation, and the articulation on this figure, I think, is pretty good, so let's take a closer look. So right off the bat, as you saw earlier, his eye slugger comes off, but I think it comes off a little too easily. I think it would have been better if there was, like, an alternate headpiece without the eye slugger. And I get what they were going for here, and I appreciate the attempt, but I don't know, again, this just kind of pops off a little too easily. So yeah, that I'm not the biggest fan of, but I digress. The base of the head here, it's actually really weird because it's not like a ball joint or anything like that. It's like a weird, like, peg thing, so he can't really, like, cock his head. I mean, a little bit, but, like, not a lot, so he can only really, like, look up and look kind of down. I don't know why. I would have preferred a ball joint there, but I digress. The base of the neck here is on a ball joint. You can move the base of the neck around, like so. You know, not a lot, but still, there's a little bit of movement you can get here. The arms can move outwards, like so. They can move 360. We have a double bend in the elbow here. And the wrists here are on hinge joints, as well as a swivel. The upper torso is on a ball joint, as well as the lower torso here. Ultra 7 can kick about that far out, but not a whole lot backwards. There it goes. There it goes. Again, this thing, it pops off way too easily. It's a little annoying. So yeah, you can't kick backwards much, but he can kick forward a lot, at least. He can do the splits like so. Though on mine, this is a little tight, so when you do get yours, just be careful. Don't force it, but just kind of like ease it so that way it doesn't break or anything like that, because that's the last thing you want this figure to break. We have a double bend in the knees here. It's really weird. This foot has a pretty good pivot, but this one doesn't. Ankle pivot, I mean. So, yeah, I think that's a little interesting, but I digress. But the ankles are on hinges as well, so they can move downwards like so. And we do have a little bit of a toe bend here. So, yeah. And that's pretty much it for the articulation on this figure. Overall, it's about on par with like the other SH Figuarts Ultraman figures I reviewed. You know, I wish they handled the head a little differently, but besides that, well, that and I wish the Ice Slugger, like, again, I get what they were going for with this, but it's just a little annoying because, like, whenever you move it, it just pops off a little too easily. Again, I think it would have been better if there was, like, an alternate headpiece without the Ice Slugger, but I digress. But still, overall, I do like the articulation here. So the articulation here, I'd say gets a pass. Now, we're going to quickly take a look at the accessories, and this figure comes with a decent amount of accessories, you know. We have four, multiple different hand pieces here. We have these, grabbing hands so he can hold his Ice Slugger. And speaking of the Ice Slugger, this figure also comes with, like, a spare Ice Slugger in case you lose the one that's already on the figure, which makes even less sense because it would have been easier if they just had, like, two different head sculpts, one with the Ice Slugger, one without. Off topic. We have a couple of open hands right here. We have a couple of questionable, like, fingering hands. I don't know what these are for, so they're there, I guess. We have some karate chop hands. Like I mentioned, we have an extra Ice Slugger piece. We have a couple of alternate hand pieces to replicate that, like, laser thing he shoots out of his head in the show. I don't know what that's called exactly, but I know that's something that he does do. And he also comes with an alternate hand piece that, it's him shooting his Specium Ray, which, unfortunately, because of, like, the articulation in his arms, he can't really, like, fully, properly, like, do the pose, but, it's the thought that counts. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for the articulation here. Now, we'll take a look at the sculpt, and the sculpting on this figure, I think looks good. I think it's pretty much one-to-one Ultra 7 from, Ultra 7, like, the proportions look good, nothing looks too big or out of place or anything like that here. Like, the sculpting, like, this is Ultra 7, I think the sculpting looks pretty on point. I think it captures the suit very nicely, and yeah, overall, like, the sculpting, like, it's pretty much perfect. It's just Ultra 7, I don't really have a whole lot to say, like, it looks good. It gets a pass. Now, we'll take a look at the detailing, and the detailing on this figure, I think, looks pretty good. So, let's take a closer look here. So, right off the bat, the head here is detailed nicely. Of the little mechanical-looking bits right here, I think are detailed very nicely. The face overall is just detailed very nicely. Everything here is just very well defined. And even the back of the head here, again, just a lot of really nice detailing. And again, this thing popped off again, the Ice Slugger. Not a whole lot of detailing here, but still, it looks nice. Alright, you know what? I'm just going to keep it there for now. The torso here is detailed nicely, like, this metallic bit here, like on the chest and on, like, the arms here, that's detailed very nicely. Like, the paneling here looks good. Like, the defining looks nice. But, like, even, like, the torso here, they're, like, you know, some, like, very slight, like, creases and, like, folds to give it that, like, guy in a suit look, which I think looks, pretty good here, you know? And again, just some really nice detailing on the wrists here. Going to the legs here, again, just a lot of really nice detailing here. You know, not a whole lot going on, but still, like, all of, like, the little, like, folds and whatnot here and everything are detailed very nicely. And even on the back here, like, the zipper here is detailed very nicely. You know, like, there's, like, a little fin here, like, I don't know. I always just associated that, like, I get that's, like, where, like, the zipper was for the suit, but I don't know. There is just something about this that just, like, works for me as far as, like, Ultras go. So, yeah, I do. Yeah, I know that's, like, a weird, like, minor thing to bring up, but I do like that. But again, like, it's detailed very nicely. And you can tell that, you know, this is where the zipper was on the actual suit itself. And yeah, the feet here have some pretty alright detailing as well. And that's pretty much it for the detailing on this figure. We just got the Ice Slugger back on for this final shot here. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the detailing here. Yeah, overall, the detailing on this figure is great. So the detailing here, I'd say, definitely gets a pass. Now, we'll do some size comparisons. I brought this figure in earlier, but here we have the Bandai Ultra Hero series, Ultraseven. I actually have, like, quite a few Ultra Hero and, like, Ultra Monster series figures, you know. I wasn't planning on reviewing them, but if you guys want me to review those, then please let me know in the comments below, if you get this far. Here we have the SH Figuarts Ultraman. And this is what I was talking about earlier. This figure has more, like, vibrant reds than this guy, and I think, like, I don't know, I wish this figure was as vibrant as this guy here, but I digress. Here we have the SH Figuarts Ultraman Tiga. And of course, here we have some hand sanitizer. And here we have Dr. Billy Grant. So at the end of the day, should you get this figure? I'd say yes, though there are some things I would have done differently. First and foremost, the Ice Slugger. I wish there was an alternate headpiece that didn't have the Ice Slugger, and like the Ice Slugger itself was just a separate piece. That would have been really nice instead of having it just on the figure, and it just constantly pops off, and it doesn't stay on securely, and it's very, very annoying to deal with sometimes. So that, not a big fan of. The weird, like, joint in, like, the base of the head where it's not a ball joint, it's just a weird, like, peg thing. And also, like, I wish the red on this figure was a little more vibrant, but even besides all that, I still like this figure, you know? Like, the painting, like, for the most part, still looks nice, you know? The articulation, like, with the exception of, like, a few things that I don't like, is still okay. You know, it's still pretty good. The sculpting is great, the detailing is great, and overall, this is a nice figure, and I do recommend you pick this guy up. Even price-wise, like, this is not that bad at all. Like, I got this guy from Big Bad Toy Store for, like, 55 bucks, which isn't the cheapest, but this is actually, like, the least I've paid for an SH Figuarts Ultraman figure, like, ever. I think the most, like, I paid aftermarket prices for Tiga for, like, 90 bucks. I think Ultraman was, like, or, like, OG Ultraman, I think it was, like, $65, something like that, but this guy was just 55, so, yeah, I know it's just, like, you know, a $10 difference, but still, like, it's not, like, super expensive. So, yeah, at the end of the day, I do recommend that you pick this figure up because despite its flaws, it's still a good figure. So, yeah. Anyway, that is it for today. Have a great rest of your week, and I will see you in the next video. Peace, Zack out.